Ahead of us is the Oxnard Drain, which is one of the waterways that collectively comprise the Ormond Beach Lagoon. None of the water in this area is treated, so all three of the drainages that come into the Ormond Lagoon area consist of untreated runoff from the city of Oxnard and surrounding area. For those who see the markers next to the sidewalk that say drains to ocean, really this is the first stop-off point, the Ormond Lagoon area. So all of those chemicals from your lawn area, from doing oil changes, etc., all gets washed into this area right here that has a number of endangered species. So they're all affected by anything that gets washed down the drainages into the lagoon. I don't understand how they would have gotten a permit to be operating in what's considered critical habitat for western snowy plovers. It's actually mapped, and it shouldn't happen without authorization from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Coastal Commission, the city, both cities of Oxnard and Port Hueneme. So it looks like we have some work ahead of us.
Now, you've been a resident of Port Hueneme, Oxnard for how many years?
32 years.
32 years. In that time, have you known those two entities to perhaps act preemptively?
Unfortunately, that's been the history here. In fact, the agency working on the J Street Canal project at this point was formerly known as the Ventura County Flood Control District. And that agency did have a history of operating without required permits in this same area. In fact, the function of the permit that they're seeking now is something that they did for a number of years without any permits. And so about 20 years ago, in 1992, I happened to be on this same beach and noticed a similar piece of equipment. And I was down the beach. By the time I got up to this area, I had observed that a trench had been dug and the Ormond Beach Lagoon had been completely drained as a result. There were thousands of dead fish in the area because the water went from being relatively fresh, relatively warm, to and relatively high, to being very low, very cold, very salty. And so that was unsuitable for all the fish in the lagoon. They all died immediately. And that was the start of a process where the agency that was conducting this activity and people like myself had to come to terms with what was wrong.
We're speaking with Al Sanders, the founder and executive director of the Ormond Beach Observers. We're out here at Ormond Beach. And Al, would you say that that was one of the events that prompted you into establishing the Ormond Beach Observers?
Well, it really changed the nature of Ormond Beach Observers. Prior to seeing illegal activity happening routinely by public agencies, our thought was that we would work on the history of Ormond Beach and some of the problems with places like Halico. But we quickly got diverted into having to deal with the activities of agencies that we thought were our friends in all of this. It didn't end up being that way.
Who on any of the boards of supervisors or city councils of Oxnard or Port Hueneme, who would deserve any special recognition as being a friend of the Ormond Beach Observers back in the day?
Well, you stumped me, Robert.
I know we did the interview with John Flynn.
Well, John Flynn...
former supervisor John Flynn.
Supervisor John Flynn was helpful when he could be, but he was not supervisor, never has been supervisor for this particular area. And so we had the problem of having Supervisor Flynn not want to run afoul of who would have been the supervisor for this particular spot. And that has varied. It's been in the 2nd district and it's been in the 3rd district. And so it's been kind of a basketball that's been dribbled back and forth. The vehicle that you're videotaping on the Ormond Beach sand spit area is violating the Endangered Species Act at the very least. Western snowy plovers nest in that area, and my understanding is equipment isn't supposed to be on the beach. Mechanized equipment altogether isn't supposed to be on the beach from March through September. So I'm not sure why that guy is there. And I thought the agencies had worked it out amongst themselves that none of them would engage in activity like this. So you're actually videotaping an environmental crime in action right now. Well, you at home are also witnessing what is an environmental crime, driving mechanized equipment through what's deemed critical habitat for western snowy plovers and California least terns. And that's what Robert is videotaping right now for Surf and River Reports.
Environmental impacts on our coastal communities have never been greater. From pollution to climate change, coastal communities are at ground zero. The Surf and River Report brings you the latest developments impacting our coastal communities. We'll talk with experts about how environmental pollution, development, and climate change is affecting our coastal and river ecosystems. It's all right here on the Surf and River Report.
Ormond Beach Observers has had the mission of protecting sensitive habitat area and endangered species for over 22 years. During that time, we've had many victories. We've had a few setbacks as well. We really need your help. If you're interested in helping us, you can send your donations, care of Ormond Beach Observers, to Post Office Box 1210, Port Hueneme, California, 93044. Thank you very much.